What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Hands-On channel. I thought today we would talk about, in my opinion, one of the ultimate survival rifles you could have for when the shit hits the fan. We all know it's coming. I mean, the writing is on the wall in Biden's America. I mean, I won't be a bit surprised one day when I wake up and it's just all out without rule of law, SHTF. We all know it's coming. So I wanted to talk to you today about one of my favorite rifles. This one here was actually a Christmas gift to me. It's one of the best Christmas gifts I ever got in all of my life. The gift of rifle. It's just an excellent gift. And I like these BX-25 mags. I believe that's what they're called, that Ruger make. They are a lot more reliable than the clear Hot Lips mags, the old ones that there used to be. I've still got a couple of those clear ones around, but these are a lot more reliable. I rarely ever use the other ones anymore, but I wanted to talk about that. For a 22 semi-automatic, it's one of the most reliable tools you can have in your toolbox. You know, some of the older Marlins and stuff like that, they were pretty reliable, but I think the Ruger has it beat. Just the mechanism, the way it works and everything, you rarely get a jam. And when you do, they're usually fairly easy to clear out. So anyways, I think this is one of the ultimate survival rifles that not a lot of people really brag or talk about because they're relatively cheap, or they were. I don't know how much they cost today, but you should be able to get one of these things for a couple of $100, I would argue. And the ammo is still relatively cheap. Just yesterday, I think it was, or the day before, I went over to Walmart and they actually had a couple of boxes of, I can't remember if that was Winchester or Remington or what brand it was, but they had 325 round boxes for $21. And that's a lot higher than what we were paying before, but it's still the cheapest thing there is to shoot. And I rarely shoot any of my larger caliber rifles now because I'm so worried about not being able to replace the ammo. But with the 22, I can still come out and get some practice and stuff like that, where I can't really do that with my AR anymore because, again, I'm worried I won't be able to afford or find the ammo to replace. So I'm kind of hanging on to all my ammo for dear life, just because, like I said earlier, I think the shit is about to hit the fan. I mean, it's already hitting the fan slowly every day, but I think there's going to be a big event that's going to cause everything just to cascade. And that's one of my biggest fears, is that you're going to see the worst of people when they can't get food for their family at the store anymore, or when the welfare dries up and they cut off the SNAP cards or whatever because the government runs out of money because they're sending billions and billions of dollars over to Ukraine to meddle in foreign wars. And so, yeah, we're on the verge of World War III, Civil War, all-out collapse. You know, food supply chains are under attack. You're seeing all this stuff on the news about these places burning up. All these food distributing places are catching on fire and burning up, and airplanes are crashing into them. I mean, something's going on, guys. Something big. They're coming after everything. So it'd be a good idea to have some good things in your toolbox that you can rely on and afford to be practiced up on. So another great quality about the 1022 or any other 22 rifle is that they're a lot better for hunting small game like rabbits and squirrels and things like that. You know, it wouldn't make much sense to take a buckshot round and shoot a squirrel or something, or, I mean, if that's all you got, that's what you do. But it wouldn't make as much sense as it does to just take a headshot on a squirrel or a rabbit with a 1022, and then you don't have to worry about picking the lead out and stuff like that, and you're not wasting your precious 5.56 ammo or anything larger. Maybe you've got an AK, you don't want to be wasting that on a squirrel, right? I mean, or a rabbit. So 22 is where it's at. I prefer mine set up with a scope just because I'm getting older and I need that scope to help me see better, and so that helps quite a lot. We're going to get set up here in a minute and take a few shots. This is one of my favorite rifles to shoot because, again, I don't feel as guilty about it. I can rapid fire this thing and I don't feel so guilty about it like I do. Even my 9mm. The reason I got into 9mm over 45 and some other calibers, 40 cal, other calibers that I could have chose from years ago, was because 9mm used to be cheap. It was like 22. You could go out and rapid fire, and I think of all the times I went out and just unloaded a 33 round mag with my Glock and just put a big grin on my face. And now when I do it, I'm going very slow because, I don't want to waste it. I want to enjoy it. So other things about the 1022 that really, in my opinion, make it one of the best, if not the best, survivalist rifle you could have is it's lightweight. it's quite a lot lighter than an AR-15 or anything else, an AK-47 or even a large hunting rifle. This is quite a bit lighter. Yeah, you're limited on range. You know, probably, I don't know, if you're real good, you could probably take down game at a couple of 100 yards if you have the right scope and stuff like that. But it loses its power after about 150 yards. So you're probably not going to want to engage very much stuff beyond 150 yards range, you know, that something like that. But honestly, that's usually enough for me in the country that I live in. If you live in a real flat part of the Texas Panhandle or something like that, where you can just see for miles and miles, then this might not be a good option for you. But I live in a place where it's hill to hill, or about no more than 100 yards apart, you know, so I'm in a good spot here for the 10/22 to be king of the woods. And it's really good. I've seen several videos where the Israeli military, I'm not sure if that's Mossad or what their name is, but the Israeli military special units were using these things over in Israel. And basically the idea is you go for a headshot with something like this. You don't shoot center mass. So if you had to engage a biped, you would not be shooting center mass unless that's the only thing you could see. You just wouldn't do it. You would go for headshots with something like this. And, you know, that reminds me, years ago, I don't know if it's still true or not, but years ago I read this thing that said more people had been killed by 22 than any other round. And it kind of made sense, because back in the old days of the mafia and stuff like that, they would use little Saturday night specials and throw away 22s, right? And the idea was they would put it right up to the base of the skull and pull the trigger. And then because it was coming out of a short-barreled pistol, it would rattle around and it wouldn't penetrate through the other side of the skull. So it'd go in through one side of the skull, get inside of there and scramble the brains, because the bullet is just basically bouncing around like this. So, you know, I don't know if that's true or not, but it sounded logical to me. So that's one of the things that, you know, you want to practice with, aiming small, missing small with small caliber rifles like this. But again, even just with the target round stuff here that I've got, this cheap stuff, it used to be cheap anyways, it's good enough, especially for taking down small game and things like that, and even using it as a self-defense weapon. So I highly advise, if you don't have a 10/22 in your toolbox, you get one. And as far as ammo goes, I've used some of this box here, so it's not a 525 round box anymore. But you can just see how much of this stuff you could carry loosely in your pocket. I mean, you wouldn't do that, obviously, with something else, a higher caliber gun, like, you know, 5.56. You couldn't carry as many, that's my point. With these 22 rounds, you could just load your pockets up and you'd hardly even notice it was there. So, or put it in your backpack, put a big box of it in your backpack, and you can carry far more ammo than you can of a larger caliber. So just the weight of it alone is incredibly enticing to me. I think that's what makes it one of the best survival rifles that there is. It's accurate enough. With mine scoped up, I could probably get one, maybe 1.5 inch groups at 100 yards. And again, that's small enough to hit a squirrel's head or a rabbit's head or a biped head, whatever you need to take care of. So I think this is going to be one of these tools that you'll be remiss if you don't have one in your toolbox, or at least something like it. Maybe you've got a bolt action, like an old Remington bolt action or something. Those are nice too, but I like the semi-auto because you can actually put down quite a bit of lead in a short amount of time. And one of the things I love about this rifle is that I can actually shoot this without hearing protection on, and it doesn't bother me a bit. So it's quite a bit quieter than most of your other firearms that you're going to have for SHTF, and that could be a game changer if you're in a situation where you can't make a lot of noise. I set up an old Fry Daddy on top of that barrel down there. We'll see if we can't hit that. And again, this is, you know, we're not very far away. We're only about 25 yards away, but it's still quite a lot of fun. Oh yeah, love it. All right, I'm gonna walk on back to about 50 yards and we'll take some shots at this Fry Daddy that's up on top of this barrel. That's about the size of a human head. So just to kind of give you a frame of reference there, how big that thing is. It's actually a Fry Baby, I believe, not a Fry Daddy, but let's get it on. One other thing I wanted you guys to see here is I've got my scope up on these raised D-rings, and the reason for that is so that I can still operate the iron sights underneath the scope there. Hopefully you can see that. But I always believe in, you know, contingency plans, backups and backups to backups and stuff like that. So if I drop this thing in a survival situation and my scope didn't work, I'd still be able to use my iron sights. All right, this time we're just gonna squeeze the trigger as fast as we can and let all 25 fly, and we'll let you guys see the action in action. That's what it's all about. All right, I'm gonna go do another rapid fire. I'm gonna try to put the first shot on the head, the Fry Daddy, and all the rest in the body section there. I found a section that needs to be ventilated a little bit more, so let's get it on. Not too bad of a grouping for 50 yards. I'll take that any day of the week, especially for as fast as I was shooting and as little as I was aiming. I was just pretty much trying to get it in that lower section there and stay in about a 6-inch area, and it looks like I did that. So guys, perfectly capable. We just fired 100 rounds, not a single jam. Now, not to say they never jam, because they do sometimes. That's just the nature of 22. But if you keep it clean and you use the BX25 mags, you're going to have a lot less jams and stovepipes and stuff like that. I just gave you guys 100 reasons why the 1022 is one of the ultimate survival rifles. Let me know down in the comments, what kind of rifle do you have like this? I mean, do you think 22 is one of these vital calibers that you're going to want to have in your SHTF go bag, or your, you know, end of the world go bag, your bug out bag, things like that? I believe it is something that's very vital. And it's one of these things that, again, I've had a lot of fun here making this video. It's the first time I've shot my 10-22 since last year, I believe. But I want to shoot it a lot more. And I've also got a 22 Beretta Neos pistol, N-E-O-S pistol, that I really like. And it's a nice little companion piece to that 10-22 rifle. Highly recommend them. If you don't have one, go out and get one. I've shot lots of tube-fed 22s over the years, like the Marlins and the Savages and other things like that. But personally speaking, I prefer the 10-22 because it's magazine fed, and you can get those 25 round BX 25 mags, and they're almost flawless. And they're also set up in a way where you can take them apart and clean them every now and then, because 22 ammo is pretty dirty. I don't know if you guys can see that on my thumbs and fingers just from loading, but it is pretty dirty. So you're going to need to clean it out and stuff like that, and have all the accoutrements that you need to take care of that 22. But yeah, hard to beat. Good old Ruger 10-22. Strom Ruger did it again. I mean, just another, it's a masterpiece of a firearm, and you should still be able to get one, I would say, for under $300. If you find one on the used market, you might find one for a couple $100, but they were a lot cheaper than that, 4 or 5 years ago. But like everything else in Biden's America, it's going up through the roof. I am just highly impressed every single time I get that 10-22 out. I love it even more.